The town of Willow Creek was a quiet, idyllic place, nestled in the shadow of towering mountains. Known for its picturesque views and warm community, it was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone. Or so they thought. One autumn morning, as mist clung to the forested hills, the town was rocked by a chilling discovery. Deep in the woods, along a little-known trail, a jogger found an abandoned campsite. At first glance, it looked ordinary. An old tent, a smoldering fire, and a scattering of belongings. But lying nearby was a journal, its leather cover marked with dried blood. Detective Eleanor Kane, a seasoned investigator from the state police, was called to the scene. Known for her sharp instincts and unflinching determination, Eleanor had solved many cases, but something about this one unnerved her. The journal contained cryptic entries written in frantic, uneven handwriting. The first entry read, "I hear them at night, whispers in the trees. At first, I thought it was the wind, but now I'm sure someone is watching me." The entries grew darker and more erratic, detailing sightings of shadowy figures and unexplained sounds in the woods. The final entry simply said, "If you find this, it's already too late. The woods are alive, and they are coming." The name scribbled in the journal was Tom Jacobs, a drifter who had been seen passing through Willow Creek weeks earlier. The town's residents dismissed him as a harmless wanderer, but his disappearance had gone unnoticed, until now. Eleanor began her investigation by retracing Tom's steps. Locals reported seeing him frequenting the Willow Creek Diner and borrowing books about local legends from the library. One of the books, The Haunting of Willow Creek, caught Eleanor's attention. It described the forest as cursed, claiming that those who ventured too far were never seen again. As Eleanor delved deeper, she discovered that Tom had been researching an old legend about a vanished logging camp from the 1800s. According to the tale, the loggers had disturbed something in the forest, something ancient and vengeful. Within weeks, the camp had been abandoned, its workers either missing or found dead in gruesome ways. Eleanor, skeptical of ghost stories, focused on facts. She learned that Tom had spoken to an eccentric local named Harold Finch, a recluse who lived at the edge of the forest. Harold claimed to have seen the shadows that Tom described. He warned Eleanor not to go further. "They don't like strangers," he muttered, his voice trembling. Ignoring his warning, Eleanor pressed on. She followed the trail Tom had written about in his journal, venturing deep into the forest. The deeper she went, the quieter it became. The usual forest sounds, birds, rustling leaves, were replaced by an oppressive silence. Hours later, she stumbled upon something she hadn't expected, the ruins of the old logging camp. Broken tools and rotting wooden structures littered the area. At the center of the camp was a massive tree, its gnarled roots twisting into the earth like claws. Carved into its bark were strange symbols, symbols Eleanor had seen in Tom's journal. Suddenly, a whisper broke the silence. It was faint at first, but it grew louder, echoing around her. "Leave." Eleanor's instincts screamed at her to run, but she stood her ground, flashlight trembling in her hand. A figure emerged from the shadows, but it wasn't human. Its form was tall and skeletal, its face obscured by a tangle of moss and branches. Eleanor fired her weapon, the sound shattering the stillness, but the figure dissolved into the mist. She fled, her heart pounding, only stopping when she reached the safety of her car. Back in Willow Creek, she reported her findings, but few believed her. Harold Finch disappeared the next day, his house left eerily untouched. The journal and the ruins of the camp were her only evidence, but no one dared to venture back into the forest to confirm her story. Eleanor left the town shortly after, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being followed. On the drive out, she noticed symbols carved into trees along the road, symbols just like the ones on the ancient tree in the forest. The town of Willow Creek returned to its quiet existence, the story of Tom Jacobs fading into local lore. But those who dared to walk the woods at night claimed they could hear whispers in the trees, calling out to anyone who would listen. And somewhere deep in the forest, the ancient tree stood, watching, waiting.